In this episode, we're going to talk about missed opportunities in our life. Those opportunities that present themselves, that are in our face, and we are somehow blind to them. To give some context, we're going to start with a joke. There's this devotional man in a coastal city. He's in his home and he hears of a flood that's happening in his home. They had a Coast Guard knock on his door, and the Coast Guard said, "Come with us. We want to take you to safety." The man said, "No, I am a devotional man and I trust that God will save me." And so the Coast Guard left and the flood got worse and it raised. And so the man went on top of his roof and another Coast Guard came with a raft and said, "Sir, come with us. We want to take you to safety." The man said, "No, God is looking after me. He will save me." And then the flood got worse and worse and it got to the tippy top of the roof and a helicopter came down and threw a rope down and said, "Sir, grab the rope. We want to take you to safety." The man said, "No, I'm going to let God save me. You take your rope and go away." So the helicopter flew away. The flood rose and the man drowned and died. He's presented at the gates of heaven. God is there and he says, "God, why did you let me die?" And God said, "What do you mean? I sent you a man on foot, I sent you a raft, and I sent you a helicopter. You said no to all of them." So how often do we go about life where we're wanting things to change? We're wanting something for ourselves. And opportunities are presenting themselves to us. It's in our face, and we're just blind to them. So, Mitra, first of all, I want to know, are you guilty of this?
Definitely. That's why I was laughing, because I could connect to it. It's all about really thinking that the saving or the savior comes from the outside and I don't need to do anything. It's a kind of irresponsibility, actually, that I think, it will be you or God, or I mean, it could be symbolism of looking for outside, including God, which is fascinating. So yeah, the laughter came from self-experience. But go ahead.
Okay, so how does one really catch themselves that this is happening? Because if they're blind to it, they're not seeing it, right? Let's say right now, you might be wanting something in your life. You're wanting to manifest something or change something in your life, and it's not happening. How would someone, if it's not happening and they're blind to it, how do they become aware? How do they shine the light on that so they can see the opportunity and see it as an opportunity?
I think the first thing is to actually become aware, as you said. That's always the first step, that become aware that something needs to change. And then the question is, what are the signs? What are the possible existing help that is around me that I can see? And then the third one is how do I take action? What would be the action I need to take? Because leaving it up to completely outer elements, including your belief system, or thinking you're the only thing that matters and efforting a lot, brings us out of balance. So it's very fascinating thing to look at, that everything is a balance of inner knowing, inner connection, outer seeing, and action. It's not either or. It's not like I'll go blind to the potential connection, help, knowing, inspiration. It could be material or it could be actually energetic. It's like asking, let's say I want to get something done. And I'm literally going through that through the process of getting my book done and out there. I've never asked for help. It's a very strong word I'm using. I don't know how to ask. I'm a very good help giver, extremely bad help receiver. So the question is, what are my knowing? How do I feel about this? What are the potential things I can do? Can I reach out and say, Ben, can you help me with this? Dear friend, can you help me with that? And also, what do I do? So the combo of outer help and signs and elements and assistance, be it physical or non-physical, and what do I need to do? How do I take action? And bringing this balance together. And by balance, I don't mean it's always 50-50. I mean, the balance sometimes means more of my work, less of help, sometimes means less of surrendering and seeing and connecting, and more of that and less of action. In this case, than your joke's case, there was no action. It
Mm,
was just a belief,
mm,
which is great if you're sitting in the place of worship or late at night and praying. That's
mm,
fantastic, but
mm.
not very great when the danger is at hand and you need to actually do something. So it's a joke, but it's also a symbolism of our human beingness that sometimes it goes out of balance.
Yeah, and it's a really interesting point you bring up, because how often are our own beliefs about how something should happen restricting us? Let's just
Exactly.
say someone is in a difficult financial situation and they are wanting to create income for themselves. And they believe the way out of the difficult situation is to generate income for themselves. Meanwhile, someone very kind and generous, someone that they know, maybe just randomly offers them money. Let's just say it's even, I want to offer you money. I just want to help you out for a few months until you get stable. That person, out of pride, refuses or says, no, that's not right. Maybe not even out of pride, maybe out of guilt. I can't accept that. And so this is a little bit more of an extreme example, but how often do our own limiting beliefs about how something should be and what makes it worthy of fulfilling our desire and what doesn't actually restrict us? Because oftentimes it's the opportunities are disguised. They don't look
Yes.
like the way that we would expect them
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
look. Back when I had our pet products business, we were looking for a warehouse. We had totally grown out of our existing warehouse. We were looking for a new one. And I spent a couple months looking at every warehouse in our area that we were interested in for a place for us to rent. And we couldn't find anything. It was either too expensive, too small, too big. At one point, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put a pause on this because this just feels like I'm rolling a boulder uphill. It's taking a lot of energy and we're not getting anywhere. I take a break, and a week later, I'm sitting in the office, and my desk at this time was near the entrance of the office. And we had a bunch of containers right outside of our office. We had a shared parking lot with other tenants. We had a bunch of containers full of product outside. And some guy walked in. He knocked on the door and he popped his head through and he said, excuse me. It's like, yes. He's like, are these your containers out here? It's like, yeah. He's like, are you guys short on space? And I said, yeah. He's like, are you looking for a new place? I said, yeah. He's like, well, I have a warehouse. It's not listed on the market, but right down the street, there's a warehouse that might be a good fit for you. Do you want to come and take a look at it? It's like, sure. Yeah. So right then and there, we went and looked at the warehouse. And Mitra, oh my God, it was exactly everything that we wanted. It ticked all the boxes. And because this was shortly after the real estate crisis, and because of everything that was going on, the landlord didn't want to put it on the market. And he gave us a massive discount, huge discount on the rent. A week later, we signed the lease and it was done. So it just literally all I had to do was create the space. My efforting was not getting the thing that I wanted. The moment I hit pause and I created space, the opportunity presented itself.
Wow. This is fascinating because I tell you what I see in my mind that is all about patterns. So the pause that is necessary when we are over efforting, I'm connecting you to your joke. So your story on one hand and the joke that you started the session with on the other hand. So in one, we are pausing too much and waiting too much and not no efforts is put in. The person is drowning, sees the problem, but still waits for something that is out of themselves. It is not something they have to do. In your case, you were putting too much effort in and you needed to actually create a pause. So here it's a fascinating thing that the solutions, be it more effort, be it pause, be it the combination of pause and effort, are all right in front of us. The question is, are we really looking and asking for the right questions and looking for the solutions? Or are we either leaning too much on our own efforts, like I have to do, or I'm just wait, something amazing will happen
Yeah.
and I will get saved.
Yeah, two different ends of the spectrum.
Yes. So that's the
Both of them blocking us from seeing the opportunity.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because we are physical, even though we have a lot of energetic and invisible and non-physical aspect to us. So that's probably why we need a combo of two. Sometimes more physical effort is necessary, sometimes more of a pause and connection to the energetic world. Not just energetic world, but also just seeing things differently. It may be for me to take time off and think, what are the existing solutions, support systems that I have? What are the ones that I've forgotten? I forget that my friends, my relatives, people that I know, my students, my clients, they also have a lot of um, existing expertise, connections, and assistance in them. And I'm not counting on them. It's just, oh, they're just my friend. I just see them for this. Yeah, I think here it's very important that what do we trust too much into the like things will happen for us, or we count too much on ourselves and our own efforts. And the answer is it's always about the combo of these two, and the proportion depends on the situation and where our own tendencies and habits are residing in that moment.
Yeah, having that openness, being open-minded about how it'll present itself and how it shows up. Um, you
Yes,
know,
and
for the
open-hearted.
yeah, open-minded, open-hearted,
Yeah.
for the person who's, dealing with an illness, who's wanting to find even just relief,
Yes.
let alone it being cured. There could be the one who is efforting, trying to find a solution, find a right doctor. And then there's the one who is like, well, no, I'm just going to trust that I'm going to heal on my own. But they don't realize, this is the key. They don't realize that they're holding on to a belief system that's restricting them and that is blocking them, right?
Yes.
Really taking time to observe, am I setting any restrictions on myself? Do I have any rules about how this thing needs to manifest for me? In this case, if someone's dealing with illness, does it need to have to come from a holistic doctor? Is it possible that it comes through even someone who's not even a doctor at all?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
we don't know. We don't know.
Exactly.
And so it's worth taking inventory of what are those limiting beliefs that we might be holding on to that are restricting us from
Exactly.
receiving.
We would love to hear from you, our listeners, because you probably have a lot of stories about when you may have had the balance of the two, of efforting and trusting on the help to arrive, or where you didn't have that balance. So we would love to hear that and see if there are different ways, different tools, different things that might be helpful to all of us. So please don't be shy and share with us that which has helped or that which didn't.
All right. Until next time, Mitra, have a beautiful day, listeners.
Yes.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. For a list of the links and other resources referenced in this episode, check out the podcast description.
If you're benefiting from our podcast, we'd love if you could help us reach more people by subscribing. Your support means the world to us. From our hearts to yours, we thank you.